AI is everywhere, and unfortunately, music is no exception. I notice AI music all the time, and every time I point it out, people always ask the same question. How can you tell? My name is Spooki, and I'm a musician, producer, audio engineer, and songwriter. And today I'm going to show you how to easily identify AI-generated music. I've split this video into 3 sections. Section 1 covers the listening portion. These are telltale signs of AI that you can listen for and actually hear in the music itself. Section 2 covers additional red flags to look for outside of the song itself. These are extra pieces of context that can help you decide if a song or artist might be AI. Section 3 covers a few extra resources and websites that can help you determine if a song is AI or not. With all that said, let's jump right in. The number one most obvious giveaway in AI music is the vocals. To start off, we're going to be listening for a buzzy or crispy tone in the high end of the voice. So what do I mean by that? Well, all the sounds that we hear are spread across a frequency. Some are on the low, deeper side, some are on the high, sharper side. I'm going to play you guys a short recording of my own voice just to use as an example.
I see a photo of you and I stop. I wonder if it's AI slop.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
So what I'm showing you on the screen now is called an equalizer. This shows us the full spectrum of frequencies that us humans can hear. Starting from the low end,
I see a photo of you and I stop.
and moving up to the high end.
I see a photo of you and I stop. I wonder if it's AI slop.
Now, I took the same little vocal recording and ran it through an AI music generator. This is what it sent back my way.
I see a photo of you and I stop. I wonder if it's AI slop.
So right off the bat, we notice that something about it is different. The obvious giveaway, it always is in those higher frequencies. We're going to use this equalizer again and just listen to some of those weird, glitchy high frequencies in the sound. So that high end of the sound is one of the most common places to listen for oddities. And again, we get this kind of crispy, gritty, fuzzy high-end sound that really stands out compared to a natural vocal. I'm going to play part of my own voice again.
I see a photo of you and I stop.
And now back to the AI version.
I see a photo of you and I stop.
Hear how it's like staticky and kind of buzzy and digital sounding in that high end? That's going to be one of the biggest giveaways when it comes to identifying these AI songs. One of the examples that I like to give are all those dude rock songs from the 2000s, where the singer has a really strained, breathy voice. Can you take me higher? But imagine if a singer's voice had that kind of raspy quality for almost every song that they're singing. It just doesn't quite fit, and that's a big red flag that you'll start to notice. We're going to jump over to our example here. This is a disco track that was completely generated with AI. Again, listen to those vocals and listen for that high, buzzy, kind of staticky sound on the high end. Kind of weird, right? It sounds too buzzy and gritty and digital. Now, the next dead giveaway with AI vocals is weird sounding harmonies. Harmonies are when multiple voices or people sing together and it gives the vocals a kind of wide, lush feeling. But for some reason, AI has a very hard time creating this, and the harmonies will come out sounding super thin, dry, buzzy, and kind of strained, like they're fighting to come out. Now, the part that's coming up is where the harmonies come in. And again, remember what I said about the harmonies. They sound very thin, very buzzy, and kind of forced, like they're straining to be sung together. Let's take a listen.
Now the whole block sways under our feet. Hands in the air, feel that sweep. I got no room for
Yeah, not sounding good. Again, very high, gritty, kind of staticky sounding, like almost digital, a little harsh. Play that one more time for you.
Now the whole block sways under our feet. Hands in the air, feel that sweep.
Most of you guys have probably heard some great harmonies in music, maybe a choir singing together, or just a backup section singing behind another singer. It's usually a lot more deep and full sounding, not gritty and digital like this. The next red flag that I want to point out is what I like to call the uncanny voice principle. Most great singers have really unique voices that are easily recognizable. Bob Marley has a voice you recognize right away. Billie Eilish has a voice you recognize right away, and Lil Wayne has a voice that you recognize right away. But with AI music, you can never quite put your finger on who the singer might be. It always sounds like it could be this one singer that you might know, but not quite. It's almost like it's a combination of every singer in that genre, and that's exactly what AI is. We're going to move on to our next AI track, and I think this is a perfect example of the uncanny voice.
Bare feet in the sand, palm shade on my skin. I got a cold lime drink and the day rolls in.
So, kind of weird, right? Like, it doesn't sound bad, but I also can't quite tell who it is. Like, it could be any famous reggae singer. It's definitely got influences of like Jamaican style reggae, but it kind of sounds like it could be a guy from California. Kind of ambiguous, you're not really sure. It really kind of reminds me of the type of thing you'd hear in like a beer commercial, which again is the point, it's generic. It's that odd genericness that just doesn't really fit anywhere and you can't quite put your finger on it. The final red flag of AI vocals I want to share with you today is their pitch and tone. Specifically, how they're always speaking or singing perfectly in key constantly. Now, don't get me wrong, a good singer should be singing in key, but with AI, it's almost too in key. It's too perfectly tuned all of the time. It's almost like they have an excessive amount of auto-tune applied to the vocal.
Every word, every syllable, every hum 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 is gonna be perfectly in key all the time, and it just kind of sounds unnatural.
Now, this next AI track is a good example of that, and to be honest, it's one of the more challenging ones to identify. Let's see if you pick up on it.
I walk the gravel edge, past the cattails and the docks. Your name kept skipping like stones across my thoughts. The water held the sky in a frame so still and blue. I watched a red canoe.
You hear how it sounds like overbearingly monotone, pitch perfect, every little syllable, and as always, there's that buzzing quality to the high end. Now, this song's going to reach a part where the harmony singing comes in. And again, remember what we learned about the harmony. It's often kind of thin, grainy, strained sounding. Let's see if you notice it in this song.
What you leave by the lake, I think of you. By the lake, I think of you. Every wave says your name. Every shore feels the same.
Again, hard to miss that fuzzy, kind of gritty, grainy sound in that top end. Now, at this point, it's probably getting easier for you to identify AI songs from the vocals. But what about a track that's just an instrumental? Well, this can be a little less obvious, but there's still some telltale signs that'll give it away. The first thing is what I like to call the confused instruments concept. Sometimes AI can struggle to figure out what a real instrument sounds like and where it goes in the song, especially in songs that have a lot going on. As a result, the tone of the instruments can sound a little wonky and confused. Let's take a listen to this next AI track, specifically the piano that's playing in the background. You hear how it just doesn't quite sound right? Like, we can tell it's supposed to be piano, but if you listen closely, it doesn't quite sound like any piano that we've heard properly played. Let's run that back one more time, and again, listen for the piano melody in the background. It just sounds kind of off and artificial. It almost has kind of a plasticky texture to it. It sounds like you told the computer to generate its idea of a piano playing in the background, which of course is exactly what's happening. If you listen closely, you'll hear a lot of this type of characteristic in AI music. Somewhere in the track will be an instrument that just doesn't quite fit and doesn't quite sound natural like it's supposed to. This can be something that's a little harder to detect if you're not familiar with music and musical instruments. But most of you watching this video are probably big time music fans, and I trust you guys to know what sounds right. I'm going to give you guys one more example of this confused instrument type of sound, this time coming from an AI generated disco track. I want you to listen to this little plucking, almost clucking sound that's happening in between the beats. I think it's supposed to be mimicking a guitar pluck, but it doesn't sound like a guitar and it doesn't sound natural. Let's see if you pick up on it. Do you hear that kind of in between the beats? It's a sound that's going dunk 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 dunk. And again, it kind of almost sounds like a guitar, but it kind of also sounds like the keys of an organ getting played really quickly. And it also kind of sounds like a little bass or synth stab, maybe. And really, it's kind of all of these sounds vaguely blended together, which again is exactly what the AI is doing because it's not specifically sure what sound should be happening right there. Let's listen again. Just doesn't quite sound right. Moving on to the final red flag of these AI instrumentals is once again that buzzy, crispy, high-end tone. Remember how the vocals we listened to had those crispy, gritty, kind of high-end textures to them? Well, most AI instrumentals suffer from the same thing, especially where synth sounds and other mid to high range instruments are used. This next AI track we're going to listen to is supposed to be a tech house track, but listen for those gritty and kind of fuzzy textures that AI loves to add for some reason. Starting to get a little harder to miss. Again, it's that fuzzy, kind of crispy sound that keeps sneaking its way into the tracks. To finish up this section, one of the best ways to get good at identifying AI music is to listen to more of it and get familiar with its qualities. Now, I know no one wants to spend their time listening to AI slop, but the more you hear it, the more you'll pick up on its consistencies and the more you'll notice the artificial sound of it all. I've created a Spotify playlist of music that is 100% AI. Even if you spend just a couple minutes skipping through songs on there, you will very quickly train your ears to notice it. The link for that playlist is in the description below if you're interested. It's a good exercise for anyone who's serious about wanting to identify AI music, or if you're just curious to hear more examples of AI music in the wild. Now that you've got a good idea of what AI music sounds like, you'll have a much easier time identifying it. However, for the times where you're still not sure, there are some extra red flags or context clues that you can look for to help decide if an artist may be using AI. Now, before we continue, I do want to point out that none of the following things are 100% guaranteed that an artist or their music is AI. These are simply some trends that I've noticed and some little red flags that can help you make a decision. It's possible for someone to have all of these traits and still be making totally legit music. So before you take your pitchforks out and accuse an artist of making AI music, make sure you do your homework and are 100% sure. Now, often enough, if someone is releasing AI music, it's very common for them to be using an AI image as the cover art as well. And when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. If you can't be bothered to make your own art in the form of music, then why would you make your own art in the form of a cover image? This is often one of the biggest giveaways if I have a suspicion that a song might be AI. Also, bonus points if the images of the artist are AI as well. As an example, we're going to take a look at this reggae artist that I stumbled across on Spotify called Ja Beard. One of these songs came on shuffle in a playlist I was listening to and it sounded totally AI. I take a look and sure enough, AI cover image right there. Another big red flag for AI music artists is their discography. Take a look at their page and see how far back their releases go. If their earliest song release starts in 2025 or sooner, then this can be a big indicator of AI use. Most popular AI music generators started seeing widespread use in 2025, so not having any music before this is definitely a big red flag. Let's take another look at our friend Jawbeard here. If we go down his discography and select Show All, we can see all the recent songs and releases. Notice there is a whole bunch, and they only go back to 2025. And of course, we can't forget the obvious AI cover arts on all of them. Pretty fishy. You know that old saying, birds of a feather flock together? Well, it's also the case for a lot of fake AI artists. If you're noticing some red flags and you think an artist might be AI, take a look at these similar artists that are suggested to you by the streaming platform. Are you seeing more artist profiles with AI cover art, AI images, and suspiciously generic music? Well, that definitely points at the sign of more AI. Once again, we're going to go back to our dear friend Jawbeard as an example. If we scroll down to some of his suggested artists, the fans also like section from Spotify, we're gonna see 3 more AI artists. Now, I've gone through each of these artists personally, can confirm everything about them is all AI. Let's take a look at this fellow, for example. Here he is, total AI music, all generated with cover arts. Let's listen to this one. Oh yeah.
That opens every door.
Oh, hear that nice buzzy, kind of fuzzy high end in the vocal?
One bone just as bright, but sleeping on the floor.
Oh yeah, we got AI there for sure. And if we go in this fella's discography, you can see that there is a ton of songs, but they all go back just to 2025. Now, I know some super hardworking people in the music industry, but I have never seen anyone drop this many songs and albums in the span of a year. This guy must be superhuman. Now, this next red flag requires a little bit of digging, but can definitely be helpful if you need an extra clue to point out AI. In the case of most professional music, there are usually multiple people involved in the creation of a song, whether it be a full band, a vocalist, and a producer, or mixing, mastering engineers, or songwriters that are all getting involved. Most artists, especially bands, will have multiple people listed in the official song credits, which can be viewed for every song on platforms like Spotify. If the song in question has multiple lyricists, a big production, tons of different instruments, but it only lists one person or one artist or entity in its credits, that's usually a suspicious sign. Once more, we're going to go back to our AI king, Jawbeard, and take a look at his song Golden Rays. Now we can click right here and go down to the View Credits section to see who worked on the song. As we can see, Jawbeard is the main artist, Jawbeard is the composer, and Jawbeard is also listed as the studio production. That is a shockingly low number of people to be working on what is supposed to be a whole reggae track. Now, I do want to stress to take this one with a grain of salt. Many producers and songwriters create, record, mix, and release songs entirely on their own. In fact, people like me do it all the time. This is especially true in the indie music world or in the dance and electronic music scenes. Remember not to jump to conclusions. This is just one puzzle piece of context to help you make a decision overall. Now, moving on to section 3. If you're still not sure whether the song you're listening to is AI or not, or you just want to get a quick and easy answer, there are some AI detection websites out there which can definitely help. There's a bunch out there, but the first one I'd suggest is called Let's Submit. This is a very simple and very quick website which allows you to paste the link to a song from somewhere like Spotify or Apple Music and get a quick analysis of whether it's AI or not. The song will either get flagged as green, meaning human likely, or red, meaning AI likely. There's also a percentage score which they use as a rough metric to tell how human or how AI a song might be. If you want a link to this website, I've got it for you in the description below. Moving on to site number 2, SubmitHub. SubmitHub is a very useful site for most artists, but it's primarily used for artists to send their music to playlist curators. However, they also have a free AI detection tool which can be really helpful for detecting if AI was used in songs. As a playlist curator myself, I've used this tool a ton. And here's my breakdown of it. If a song scores 10% or less on their detection score, it's almost guaranteed that the song is not AI and no AI was used. If a song scores somewhere between 10 and 20%, it's possible that a certain element of the song, like a melody or drums, may be AI, but again, not guaranteed. If a song scores somewhere between 20 and 40%, it's very likely that a good portion of the song was made using AI. And if a song scores 40% or more, then it's likely that the entire thing was made with AI. Of course, we should note that these tools aren't perfect and are still in development. It is possible, although in my experience very unlikely, to get false positives. One nice thing about technology is that as AI music keeps getting better and better, I think that AI detection softwares will also get better and better to meet it. So now that you know what to look for, you guys should have a much easier time identifying AI songs right off the bat. I really appreciate you guys sticking around to the end of this video, and if you found it helpful in any way, please share it with someone you know who may want or need to get better at identifying AI music. AI isn't going away anytime soon, and I think that educating people on AI awareness is one of the best things that we can collectively do. To share some of my thoughts as a musician, I really don't hate AI, but I do think it's a cheap and kind of lame way to create music and express creativity. And like most of you, I really don't like being lied to or misled by so-called artists who aren't being honest about how their music is getting created. I think that Pandora's box is open. The genie's out of the bottle, there's no getting it back inside. AI is here to stay. But I think the majority of people out there want to hear real music from real people. Anyways, guys, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching. And if you know anyone who wants to get better at identifying AI, give this video a share. Thank you so much, and as always, peace and love.